Chad Roma lived in fragments. Wiretaps. Encrypted emails. Surveillance logs. Each scrap of data meant little on its own, but at the National Security Agency, Chad had built a reputation for assembling those fragments into patterns no one else could see. To him, the world was a puzzle, and puzzles were what he did best. His latest assignment seemed routine, if politically sensitive. The director himself had summoned him. "Sit down, Chad." The man's voice was flat, his expression unreadable. "We're hearing whispers again. Politicians scheming against the president. Coup chatter. You've seen it before." Chad's answer was careful. "So this is just due diligence?" "Exactly." The director's gaze didn't waver. "Full access. No limits. Just tell me what's real." Clearances opened. Firewalls lifted. Databases unlocked. For days, Chad drowned in the flood of information. At first, the puzzle aligned neatly. Opposition groups, backroom meetings, anonymous chatter pointing to the usual suspects. The story wrote itself. Until one detail snagged. A months-old wiretap. A minor cabinet member. The call was brief, mention of the account and a pending transaction. Flagged as unimportant. But something about it gnawed at him. Chad followed the thread. The transaction wasn't small. It was millions, routed offshore, buried under layers of shell corporations, before landing in accounts linked to two of the president's most senior cabinet members. His chest tightened. He pulled back, re-examining the supposed coup chatter. This time, he read the silences. The rumors weren't threats at all. They were camouflage. A diversion. The corruption wasn't outside. It was inside. Two reports took shape in his mind. The official one, clean and reassuring, confirming the director's narrative. And the other, unspoken, radioactive, undeniable. He titled it Project Coup Briefing, classified level red. Initial findings suggested a coordinated infiltration not by a foreign power, but by something unknown. Evidence remained inconclusive. Further analysis required before escalation to the executive branch. Then a darker thought intruded. Training exercises. Loyalty tests. The agency had run him through them before. Scenarios crafted to feel real, designed to see who could be trusted. Was this another test? Or had he just stumbled into rot at the heart of power? The line blurred until certainty slipped from his grasp. That evening, Chad tried to act normal. The smell of steak and baked potatoes filled the Roma kitchen. His wife, Linda, set plates on the table. Their son, Jonah, 17, sat across from him, pushing food around his plate instead of eating. "How's that script coming?" Chad asked, forcing a smile. Jonah sighed. "Professor wants something bold. Something that'll wow him." "But," he glanced up. "Why are you still buried in puzzles, Dad? You've already made it." Chad chuckled, though it rang hollow. "Because puzzles are what I do. Hey, do you have a legal pad? I need one for class." "Study, top drawer." Jonah wandered in. His gaze landed on the open file across the mahogany desk. Its title read, Working Draft. Names, dates, diagrams formed a dark web of ink. He skimmed before his father noticed. "Whoa," Jonah murmured. "This reads like a coup." His voice carried awe, not fear. This could be my script. Politicians, judges, even the media, it's cinematic." Chad froze, then forced a smile. "Just an exercise. Scenario only. Nothing real." Jonah didn't hear the warning. He saw only possibility. That night, he gave his draft a title, The Coup Within. 4 houses down lived Carla Mitchell, 26, ambitious, freshly hired at the Washington Post. She'd known Jonah since he was a kid who begged her to buy him candy at the corner store. Now she was more like an older sister, someone Jonah confided in when his parents felt too far away. One evening, Jonah showed her a few pages. Carla scanned the lines, her reporter's instincts prickling. "Jonah, Where did you get this? I wrote it. It's just fiction, he said, grinning. Cool, right? Cool, she said slowly, but her stomach nodded. The details felt too sharp, too precise. She slipped the pages into her satchel, telling herself she'd look at them again later. Not as a story, as a lead. Within a week, Jonah handed his polished draft to Professor Holloway. The professor was floored. This is extraordinary. You've got an eye for detail most students don't. Do you mind if I share it with a colleague? He used to consult for the government. Flattered, Jonah agreed. The script moved. Professor, colleague, former CIA analyst. The analyst frowned, then read again. Too many details rang uncomfortably close to whispers he'd once heard in Washington. He forwarded it to a friend still inside the agency. By the time Chad submitted his official polished report, the one that confirmed the director's narrative, Jonah's so-called fiction was already circulating inside the halls of power. The next afternoon, Chad left work as usual. Files locked. Water bottle filled. Rituals intact. In the parking garage, his footsteps echoed. He slid into his car, started the engine, and drank. The first swallow was crisp. The second, metallic. Bitter. At the stoplight, sweat prickled his forehead. His chest clenched, sharp enough to steal his breath. By the time paramedics broke the door open, Chad was slumped over the wheel. Flatline, one said. Chad Roma was dead. Hours later, Professor Holloway collapsed in his faculty lot. Students screamed. Paramedics worked frantically. It was no use. Time of death, 4:27 p.m. 2 deaths. Hours apart. That night, Jonah sat with his mother in silence when the knock came. 2 men in dark suits entered. NSA. Condolences were offered, words soft and practiced. They didn't just bring sympathy. They brought boxes. Jonah watched as they packed his father's files, computers, drives. Efficient. Methodical. Not mourning, cleanup. One agent asked, "Did your father talk to anyone in the neighborhood these last few days?" Linda shook her head numbly. "No." The agent nodded. Routine. Then the second leaned forward, too casual. "So, Jonah, how's that script you've been writing?" The words landed like a thunderclap. Jonah's chest tightened. They knew. He forced a laugh. "Not going well, probably giving it up." They smiled faintly, satisfied. But Jonah's mind was racing. His father. His professor. Both dead within hours. Now the NSA sweeping through the house, probing with questions. This wasn't coincidence. It was control. When the agents finally left, Jonah slipped out the back door and ran 4 houses down. He pounded on Carla's door until she opened it. "Jonah, what? He killed him," Jonah whispered, eyes wild. "My dad. And my professor. And now they're coming for me." Carla pulled him inside, her reporter's instincts roaring to life. Jonah shoved the last fragments into her hands, the pages he still had, the memories of what he'd read. Carla scanned them, her stomach dropping. She knew a buried lead when she saw one. This wasn't fiction. This was evidence. She made a call. Jonah sat frozen, unable to process what was happening. He had lost his father, his mentor. And now the story that had started as fiction was becoming something far more dangerous.